hey friends, and welcome back. Today is actually a pretty big day for me. So the day that I'm filming this, it's actually my birthday. And then also I woke up this morning to the most insane birthday present ever. I just hit 300,000 subscribers, which honestly is a number that I couldn't have even dreamed of when I started this whole YouTube journey. But I really do have each and every one of you to thank for that. So from the bottom of my heart, just let me say I am so grateful for you guys and this incredible community that we've created. And so today, really in celebration of all of that, I thought it would be fun just to sit down to do some watercoloring with you and to catch up by answering a few of your questions. And so I put out a call on YouTube and Instagram to figure out what were the questions that you all wanted to know. And so for the next little bit, I just want to sit down to chat and we can paint together. So I have a blank sheet of watercoloring paper in front of me here, as well as my supplies. I'll link to everything that I'm using in the description box below. And the vision for what I want to create today is a kind of autumn botanical collage, kind of like this one here. So I'm going to start with painting some cute little mushrooms in the center here. Let's get started with our first question. All right, so this first question is one that I've been asking myself a lot lately, and that's, is your home perfect right now? Or are there any interior design styles that you want to incorporate in the future? This year has honestly been a really big year for us for making changes to our home. We did the dining room, our guest bathroom, the front porch, and there are like small touches too that I've added to every room in our house over the past few months. And so overall, I would say the answer to this is no. I am pretty happy with the design style that we've gone with in the house. But that being said, there are still a few rooms that I would love to update that just feel a bit unfinished right now. One of those is actually our primary bedroom, which I'm in right now. The other is our primary bath. And then there are a few smaller spaces too that I really want to give some love, like our closet, our laundry room, and our pantry. And so over the course of the upcoming months and years, I'm sure we'll continue making some tweaks to our house and adjusting things to fit our life and lifestyle as that evolves over time. But overall, I have to say, I really do love our house and just feel so lucky and grateful that we get to live here. Yeah, there are a lot of times when I just have these like pinch me, I must be dreaming moments because I just can't get over how lucky, how grateful I am that we have the home and the life that we do. Okay, but then moving on, someone asked, I know that you're young, but are you wanting kids? And actually turning 26 is a pretty big kind of milestone for me. So for the longest time, Christopher and I got married really young. I was married at 19. I always kind of said, I'm the first one of all of my friends to get married by a considerable amount. And so I always said, I don't want to rush having kids. But at this point, Christopher and I have been married for 6 years, almost 6.5 at this point, actually. And so at this point, we really are getting to a place where we're saying, yeah, we do want kids, and honestly, maybe sooner rather than later. We have our big trip coming up in November, which I'm super excited about, and I've been saying all along, I don't want to be pregnant for this trip ever since we had it booked. But after that, who knows? I've been on hormonal birth control for a while. I'm not off of it quite yet, but I am planning to go off probably in the next couple of months. So this is something that's pretty quickly just approaching on the horizon for us. This is one of those things that's a bit exciting for me, a bit scary. There's a lot of unknowns involved, but it's been really cool. Just in the past couple of months, we've become really good friends with a few other people who have kids. So we've been able just to be around kind of parents, kids. It's just been really cool being able to have a picture for what the next stage, the next chapter in our lives could look like. And I do think that it would just be so cute to have a little me, a little Christopher running around our house. Okay, so a little progress update. We do have a couple cute little mushrooms outlined on our paper. Now I want to start filling in some botanical details. I'm going to add some leaves, probably in some beautiful deep greens. Normally I just work off of the watercolors on this plate here. I just kind of add water and I'm able to mix up colors as I want. But I am running out of greens pretty quickly here. So I'm going to add this Academy Watercolor green earth color. It's really beautiful. There we go. It's kind of like a nice dark, almost sagey green color. Okay, and then the other color I'm going to be adding is this Hooker's Green Deep. And this one is like a really dark forest green color. Okay, next question though. Someone else asked, how do you connect with your husband when life gets busy? And I think this is such a great question because this is very much an ongoing conversation that Christopher and I have been having over the course of the past few months and honestly even years. I think that because of the stage of life we're in, it always feels like we're busy and we're having to intentionally remind ourselves to slow down. And so something that we've done in the past couple of months that we've absolutely loved, we've just found to be really helpful is to a couple of times a week. So we try to make it so it's at least one weekday and one weekend. We'll take a night and we'll just devote that to spending time alone at home and with each other. So we're trying to make sure that we're not working during that time. We're really being intentional about catching up, about hanging out, and making sure that our relationship remains a priority. I think it can sometimes be easy for us to try to substitute other things in place of time as just a way of maintaining a healthy relationship and a strong connection, but there really is no replacement for just intentionally setting aside time to devote to each other. And so that's been really big for us, is just in the midst of life's busyness, making sure that a couple of nights a week, we're really being intentional about connecting with each other. Okay, and then I thought that this was a fun one, and it's just, what are you doing to romanticize autumn right now? And I've shared this many times, but the fall really is my favorite season of the year. Just love being able to watch the leaves change. And so one of the things that I've been doing to kind of make the most of this season, to romanticize it, if you will. So I've actually started going on daily walks. So just in our local neighborhood, I'm going outside, spending some time outdoors, and just being able to appreciate, to take in all the beautiful leaves that are starting to change here. And it really does just bring a smile to my face and just fills my heart being able to see the colors of the leaves slowly turn from those pale greens to golds to reds and everything in between. Then on a bit more of a social note too, I've been trying to incorporate some fun activities as well. So earlier this season we went apple picking. We've also had a few bonfire nights, and I just love being able to enjoy the weather, enjoy some of the activities of the season with friends. And then let's do a little bit of a fun one. Someone asked me, do you like roller coasters? And I would say I like the really twisty ones, but I'm not as big on the massive drop roller coasters. I feel like those just, they terrify me for some reason. I'd rather be flipped upside down a million times more than having like a 300-foot drop. Ooh, okay, and then this is one that I feel like a bunch of people have kind of been asking me on and off for the past few months, ever since I published that Goodbye Minimalism post a couple of months ago. And that's, if pressed, how would you describe yourself now? Are you still a minimalist? Would you call yourself minimal-ish? Somewhere in between? Or how would you kind of label yourself? And I think that minimal-ish is probably the best descriptor for where I'm at right now. I definitely am not as minimal as I once was, and I'm at a place where I'm really happy and okay with that. Now, obviously, there are still a number of places where minimalism absolutely plays a big role in my life. I still only have one item of every piece of makeup that I regularly wear. I still like to pack light. So there are a lot of areas where minimalism absolutely still impacts my life, but there are areas for sure where I've become a little bit less stringent with it. So for example, this year I invested in a couple pieces of autumn decor, which is something that I never would have done a few years ago, but that I've really been loving. So I think I've just been, a little bit less stringent about trying to be ultra minimal and just to have a number of possessions that feels comfortable and right for me. And right now that is a bit more than I used to have, say, a couple of years ago when we were living in our apartment. Okay, and then I got a great question about my job. Someone asked, what do you do for work, or is YouTube your full-time job? And to be honest, YouTube is my full-time job, and it is at least a full-time job. There are so many weeks that I'm spending 50 or even 60 hours working exclusively on YouTube. You know, you watch a 15 to 20 minute video, and I think a lot of people just don't see the hours and hours that go into editing, to production, to lining up all of the details, to planning everything out, and even just to getting ready to film. I know at least when I was first getting into it, I didn't fully appreciate all the time that goes into it, but as a little example, I think that one of the last videos I posted, I spent 15 hours editing it. So if I'm doing that twice a week, plus filming, plus all the other things, it adds up really quickly. So while it might be fun to have another job on top of YouTube, right now I just honestly don't have the time for it. Okay, let's do another little watercolor check-in. We have some really cute little pieces all coming together. I've added just some dried leaves, some greenery, and then I think I'm going to go in and add some more detail to the mushrooms and fill out some of the more sparse areas. And while I do that, let's actually do a little watercoloring specific question, and that's, do you have any tips for people looking to get into watercolors? So I think this is such a fun question, and it really makes me happy to see how much you guys have been loving just the fun little watercolor projects that I've included in some of my recent videos. It's something that I really got into, I think it was last year or the year before, and it's just really quickly become one of my favorite hobbies. I would say if you're looking to get into it, watching some videos on YouTube can be super helpful. There are two main techniques when it comes to watercoloring that you'll want to kind of learn a bit about. So it's wet on wet and then dry on wet, or wet on dry. I'm honestly still in the beginning stages of figuring this all out myself. But learning and then just practicing those a bit is really helpful when you're first getting started. And then I would say just go on Pinterest, try to find some inspiration for fun things that you want to try recreating, and then just get to experimenting and get to practicing. Watercolor is very much one of those mediums where you're going to learn a lot by actually doing it. And so you can, read about it, you can watch videos on it all day, but I'd say where you're really going to find success, where you're really going to find that you grow as an artist, is going to be just in the practice of doing. So pick something fun and try to replicate it. And I would say at first, trying to copy other people's paintings is really helpful. And then as you get better and better at it, try just going out into nature or looking at different pictures that you might have taken on your phone and see if you might be able to translate some of those to watercolor. Then I would just say continue practicing and continue practicing. There really is no substitute for just putting paintbrush to paper and giving things a go, even if they don't always turn out exactly how you imagine. And we got a number of questions about pets. A lot of people wanting to know, do we currently have any pets, or do we have any plans to get a pet in the future? And right now, Christopher and I don't have any pets. We do love dogs though, and would love to adopt one at some point. Right now though, we just don't feel like it really works with our life and lifestyle. So kind of what we've considered doing is just waiting until we have kids, and then once we have kids, and I feel like at some point every child asks, hey mom, hey dad, can we get a dog? We want to, at that point, bring a pet into the family. At this point, it feels like we're so close to having kids that I don't want to have a baby and a puppy at the exact same time. So I'd rather kind of have a couple of years where we can enjoy spending time with our kids. And then at that point, when they're a little bit older, probably get a dog at that point. That being said, I wouldn't be at all surprised if one day we just came across the right situation and adopted a dog out of the blue. Sometimes that kind of thing happens for us. Okay, and then let's do a couple quicker questions here. So someone asked, what is your best piece of financial advice? And in one sentence, I would say live below your means and save as much as possible. And someone else asked, do you currently have a favorite tea? And the answer is yes, I do. This right here is probably my favorite tea at the moment. It's called Alpine Punch. It's by David's Tea, and it's a rooibos tea with some beautiful notes of cinnamon and of almond in it. Caffeine-free teas have really been growing on me lately. I love that I can just have them at any time of day without having to worry about ingesting too much caffeine, and they're really, really tasty. Okay, and then I love me a good travel question. Someone asked, how many countries have you visited, and do you currently have any international travel plans? So I think when I last counted, it was somewhere between 18 and 20. And part of that just depends on whether or not you want to count some of the smaller states that might not appear in a UN list of nations, but I think I would still count as a country, like Vatican City, Wales, things like that. But off the top of my head, it's somewhere between 18 and 20. And then as far as international travel goes, yes, we do have some very exciting travel coming up. If you saw my recent Plan With Me video, we're actually currently in the midst of planning a trip to New Zealand, which will hopefully be going on in the next month, and this really is just an absolute dream trip for me. That being said, if you do have any good New Zealand travel recommendations, whether that's things to do, places to eat, anything like that, I would love to hear any and all recommendations, so make sure to let me know what those are in the comments. Okay, and then let's wrap this up with one final question. Someone asked, how are you dealing in recovering from burnout? And I can honestly say I am doing so much better. Over the summer, I did go through a pretty intense season of burnout, but I've made a lot of lifestyle changes, including taking things off of my plate, changing up my diet, exercising more. There's a lot that I've done. And I would say all of those small things in combination really have had such a big impact. And I really have been able to get to a place where I'm enjoying creating again. I'm enjoying just the little moments in life so much more. I'm finding that I'm a lot less stressed. And honestly, some of the physical ailments that I've been dealing with for months on end, I'm noticing less and less. So it's been really exciting, and I'm just so grateful to be on the other side of what's really been a pretty difficult season for me. All right, well, our painting is mostly finished, and I'm loving how it's turning out. I think it's so fun, so autumnal. There are just a few small spots left to fill in, but that's more kind of detail work, so I'll probably finish that off screen. This whole painting and talking at the same time thing has been a lot harder than I thought it would be. But I really hope that you enjoyed spending some time together today as we caught up. And now I'd love to know, how are you doing right now? What's been a highlight of the year for you so far? Maybe what's been one challenge as well? I'd love to hear about it, so be sure to let me know in the comments below. That's going to be everything from me for this one, though. Right now, I'm going to go get ready for my little birthday dinner date with Christopher. So until next time, friends, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one.